cause supersede everything else. And it takes leaders of a certain mettle to be able to stand up to the challenge and bite the bullet to plow along, especially during difficult times. From Anita Roddick's Body Shop line of cosmetics, which are against animal testing, to Honduras-based Kenco Coffee that employed misled youth in the region, to our very own Bangalore-based Encasia that collects waste in exchange for cash, or Help Us Green that recycles waste flowers collected from temples, social enterprises have always been trailblazers. Brown Reed Agri-Waste Innovations Private Limited is one such enterprise that has dared to go upstream and harness underprivileged women from marginalized communities, not only in Karnataka, but in Andaman and Nicobar also. And I'm very proud to introduce our dear speaker, Dr. Saji Varghese, to share more about it with us today. So before we begin, we would bow our heads in a silent prayer. Many of us have been struck by COVID, many of us are recovering, and we are so grateful to the Almighty that we have this time of fellowship and sharing. So just a quiet, silent prayer for a minute. Amen. Before we move forward, I would like to address a few house rules which we all very well know, but just for a quick refresher. All attendees are requested to keep their mics muted at all times, but please feel free to type your thoughts and questions in the chat box, which I'll keep picking up. After the talk, you would be welcome to unmute and pose your questions directly to Professor Saji. I would also humbly request Father VC or Registrar Sir to make any important announcements before we close. Thank you. So as many of us know, our celebrated speaker for the day is Dr. Saji Varghese. Dr. Saji is an associate professor in the Department of English, Christ deemed to be University, Bangalore. He has over 25 years of teaching experience and specializes in English language and literature at the undergrad and postgrad levels. He has a keen interest in grassroots innovation and entrepreneurship. His startup, Brown Reed Agri-Waste Innovations Private Limited, has provided a platform for many faculty and students to practically learn, understand, and exercise leadership at various levels and capacities. Brown Reed is a Christ University campus startup engaged in the production of eco-friendly products such as straws and pens made from fallen dried coconut leaves, with the products innovated by the faculty and students of our university. It currently hosts 5 production centers in villages near Mysore, Tutukodi, Kasargod, and are operated by 70 women from these rural areas and run by women entrepreneurs. Undoubtedly, the Brown Reed Initiative has contributed a lot to the increasing presence of women as entrepreneurs and has changed the demographic characteristics of social enterprises, and thus is playing a prominent role in the society. It has generated more employment opportunities in the country's most rural and underdeveloped and often neglected areas. We at Christ Consulting have had the honor of working closely with Dr. Saji and his team on formulating branding strategies and designing packaging for sunbird straws, which he's going to, I'm sure, cover in his presentation, and also devising positioning strategies and developing creative packaging for sunbird pens. That's a new thing that he's introduced, his team has introduced. Humility and a smiling face, as we all know, are his hallmarks. Dr. Saji Varghese is a decorated professional. He has been invited to be the part of the Honorable President of India's business delegation to the Philippines in October 2019. He has recently won the Global Honeybee Network Creativity and Inclusivity Award through the United Nations Development Program, UNDP. So, with this very brief introduction to this great gentleman, I would now request Saji sir to share his thoughts with us on leadership in a social impact startup, challenges and opportunities. Dr. Saji.
A very good afternoon, everyone. I'm actually humbled by this opportunity which I have given, which I've been given now, to share my journey and also the learnings that our team and I had all along this journey of the social startup, which began in 2017 in the campus of Christ. And I'm very proud about the fact that now it is growing. It's been almost 4 years now. And not that it is a success story already or that we have already reached where we wanted to reach. There are more challenges than than success stories. But all along, there has been this entire objective of trying to see whether we as a university, whether we can create more opportunities for our students to get exposed to, and can we build the connect with the communities which are all around in our vicinity, and then try to learn from all these experiences. So my talk today is primarily going to be focused on the entire leadership aspect of this entire journey, not so much on the marketing or the revenues or where we have reached in terms of the product. So I'll focus more on some of the foundations on which we are trying to build this small startup. So my talk is all around focused more on the entire leadership and the visionary aspects of this startup. So as Anamika ma'am has already given a heads up on what we are doing, but some of us who are not very familiar with what we are doing, I'll just give us a brief overview. So this all happened in 2017 when we developed these biodegradable drinking straws from fallen coconut leaves, and it just came out as a very exciting prospect. And then first we used to make only the single layered straws, and then when we took the feedback from the users, we found another a few issues, and then we worked for another 3,000 hours to be exact to build this narrow tube, which came out as a multi-layered straw, and now it is a very steady product, and we can make up to 200 straws from one fallen coconut frond. And our team of students from Christ University, they actually surveyed 15 villages of Karnataka and identified 5 lakh coconut trees. They asked the farmers what they do to these fallen leaves. Except at one place where it was mulched, it was burned, or sometimes it was simply dumped into fresh water to contaminate it. And then we found this huge opportunity where an agri-waste could be converted into a value product. And also this huge collateral opportunity was for the women in the rural areas who could be employed in huge numbers. So that was a story where we developed biodegradable drinking straws from fallen coconut leaves. And then we went forward and filed a patent for it under PCT. So this design is protected in 153 countries. And last month, we filed individual patents in the US and also in the European Union. And we also got the International Patent Search report for this product. And we found out that all our 30 claims, so we have 30 claims in this particular innovation, and all our 30 claims are novel. So it's very likely that wherever we file for a patent, we will be granted the patent. And that's again a very beneficial opportunity that we have for ourselves, our startup, and for our communities. And then it was during the COVID, I remember 15th March when our college closed down for the first because of the first COVID, we requested Father Benny, and he allowed only 2 of us to work at the Kengeri campus. So every morning we used to go to the Kengeri campus, I and our technical head Jobin, and we used to work there till around 5 o'clock, and then after the designs were done, we would go to the fabricator. And the happy that during the last 2.5 years, we developed 8 special purpose machines to these straws. These are also patented under PCT. So it's a beautiful journey where just a straw wouldn't take the story forward. We wanted an entire team. Now we have a team of students, and we want more of us to be a part of this, where we developed a homegrown product and as well as the entire technology to build it up. And we have the patent for the product, for the technology as well. And in fact, last 2 months, we are again focusing on bringing in more automation into this. And that again will help us to increase our productivity and reduce the price, because it's a labor intensive product. The price is slightly higher than what people expect for a straw. And that is exactly a challenge we have to bring down the cost of production. And I think by March, we will have stabilized the entire production process to make it really affordable and cost effective for the larger market. So that is the heads up. And then yeah, so now this is a stage we, as ma'am also already mentioned, we have 4 production centers now in Madurai, Tutukodi, Kasargod, and we started recently in Bangalore and Melahalli near Mysore. And the upcoming project is in Nagarkoil, where we have a funding from HDFC, and then Amlapuram, where we have funding from NABARD. And last week, the director of Agriculture Department from Andaman Nicobar, he had asked us to submit a project report. We already submitted the budget proposal, and he is working towards building up a turnkey project under Department of Agriculture in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So, and so far around now, yesterday, 90 women are now involved in the production of the straws. And it's going well in the sense that we are getting frequent inquiries from almost 10 countries now. And we are hoping that by March, April, we will have huge orders on our hand. And the challenge was to scale the production. So that is the challenge now we are addressing. And then we'll go back to Anamika ma'am to trouble her to help us with the best marketing strategies and take it forward. And then, just a minute. Yeah. So we also developed the pen, and I want to tell you that it was Sandeep. Sandeep is a Christite. Now he's enrolled as a PhD student in economics. So he doesn't have an engineering background, but he was the one who invented the pen. So the pen idea was his when we found out that a lot of straws were rejected at our end itself, because now we are actually supplying the straws to a few 5-star hotels, including Novotel, Ibis, Leela Palace, and Four Seasons. So Chirag, who is another Christite, who has finished his undergraduation from Christ, and then he did his post-graduation in aerospace engineering. From UK, he came back and he has joined us full time. So he has a very stringent protocol, and he rejects the straws at his level itself. So we had lots of straws rejected, and it was Sandeep who came up with this whole idea of developing it into pen. It is going very well. I think I forgot to put the picture. So this is the background. And then I, as a faculty at Christ University, I just did not want that it should be just having a journey in itself. Okay, we have come up with a product, and now let us make it into a startup. I always wanted to bring in a much better foresight into what we were doing. And one of the guiding books that I follow very closely is by Jim Collins, Built to Last. It's a beautiful book published in 2001, where Jim Collins is he's a Stanford professor, and he, along with his students, did a 6-year project, and they analyzed around 14,035 companies. And finally, they zeroed in on 11 companies which have achieved greatness. So this is a book which I very closely follow, and I try to inbuilt, bring in some of these ideas into this small startup. Of course, we are a very tiny startup. A lot of things are still very chaotic. But still we are trying to bring in, and we often discuss all this during our late night office hours. Most of us, we have a small office here very close to my house, and all of us are there till 9:30, 10, and we are discussing and trying to bring in these value systems. So what makes a company last, and how does it become a visionary company, and what are the successful habits? So these things we actually try to bring in. We are actually, it's only a 30-minute session, so I would not go on into all of that. But I'll just focus on 2 or 3 points which I feel is very, very pertinent. One is, as a company, we should not be into time telling, but into clock building. If you have just one person who is telling you the time, after that person goes, it's all over. Rather than that, if you build a clock, it's always there to tell you the time all the time. So when we build a company, it should not be a person dependent, and that is we are trying to build in some core value systems and core processes and systems. In fact, Rice University itself is a great example for all of us to learn. So we are into clock building and not time telling. And the very important aspect that we always keep discussing on is go for and not or. So it's not that we take extreme positions. We just try to see how we can balance two extreme positions. For example, we have a very core ideology that it has to be a social impact startup. In fact, I remember last year, there was a group of a company which called us and said that they were interested in our product and they wanted to invest 8 crores in our startup, 8 crores. But they said that we will take it to Delhi, and they wanted to build some high automated systems and then make the straws, which we could very easily say a no to them, because we always wanted to be a core a social impact startup which has to have the production centers in the villages and employ women in the rural areas. So at the same time, we as a team, we are very much for automation to the extent that it's a fine balance between automation and employment. So how we accommodate and not take extreme positions. So that is very, very important for us as a company. So we tell everyone that we are a social impact company. All the production centers will be in the villages. At the same time, we are pragmatic. For example, our women should be able to meet the growing demand. So how do we bring in automation? So that's a fine balance. And at the same time, while we have that core ideologies, we always promote, stimulate progress, and we stimulate innovation. So this is some of the philosophy that we are trying to bring in into our company. And then some of the mechanisms, and I'm a big fan of the first element which Jim Collins talks about, which he calls it as the BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals. And I always tell my team, when we talk about big dreams, it looks sometimes too exaggerated, too bombastic at times. But I think there is nothing wrong in trying to have a big aim and then try relentlessly for it. And don't be embarrassed or ashamed if you have a spectacular failure. If your attempt is genuine enough and big enough, failures are bound to happen. But in Jim Collins' books, Built to Last and Good to Great, he talks about how Boeing, which was always making warplanes for America, when they wanted to come into civil aviation, what a big bet they had played. Almost 3/4 of the company's profits were going to be pumped into just the R&D to bring in to come into the civil aviation and rival Douglas. But they had that big, hairy, audacious goals. We as faculty and students of Christ University, we also have big, hairy, audacious goals, in the sense that we want that Brown Reed should be a Christ University campus startup, which will be an example at the global level to people to understand how a social impact startup has to be. We have to be for profit, at the same time how we can actually impact communities in a big way. So, and I'm very happy to tell you that 10 days back, and I was in one of our production centers in Bangalore, I was there, and we got a call from the Norwegian Technical University. So 6 students from the Norwegian Technical University were trying to make a case study, and they were referred to, our company was referred to them by IIM Ahmedabad, so to take it up as a case study. And these 6 students of Norwegian Technical University are now working with us, and it's a part of their college coursework, that they have to develop a business strategy for a social impact startup and find markets for them for this startup in Norway and other European countries. So we are interacting with them, and Professor Anil Gupta from IIM Ahmedabad and from GAN, Gujarat Innovation Augmentation Network, they are all working with us to help us. And it was a beautiful interaction. We had interaction 2 times now for 2 hours, and they were very happy to see the women working there, because coincidentally I was there at the production center itself, and they are helping us. So I want that we have this big, hairy, audacious goal that Brown Reed should become the biggest social impact startup coming from Christ University, and people should learn a lot from it, in the sense that we don't want to be an exploitative model, and we have a very holistic approach, which I'll talk about very soon. So another book which I'm always following is Good to Great. Again, it talks about leadership. And I think because this talk is about, today's talk is all about leadership, I thought I would share that with all of us here. One is this Jim Collins talks about level 5 leadership. And very surprisingly, he doesn't call it leadership at that point. It becomes an executive. Level 1 talks about a highly capable individual. So he's a very charismatic leader and he can make everyone follow him and things like that. Level 2 is somebody, a leader who can work with the team and help them achieve their goals. And then at level 3, we have a competent manager and helps, everything to move very meticulously. And all of us would be very happy and satisfied with the level 4 leadership, which talks about being an effective leader and how he inspires commitment from all the team members and makes them work to achieve high performance and all that. But what Jim Collins found out from his study of those 1035 companies, from which he picked up only 11 companies, and he found a very surprising commonality in all these 11 companies which had achieved exceptional greatness. All the companies have achieved average to good good levels of achievements. But when he analyzed these 11 companies, he found something very, very strange. What he found out was that the level 5 leadership was marked with personal humility, but there was a professional, will. So what the biggest lesson he's trying to convey is that most of the companies operate at that level 4 leadership. But level 5 leadership is essentially about the leader. There is no need of a charismatic leader. What we actually need is a charismatic cause. So if you have a charismatic cause, then the leader's charisma or his awesomeness is not at all important. So if the entire team can see that big cause and the big intention and the genuine the genuine desire to achieve that charismatic cause, all of us, all the entire team will be into it, and it will be a self-driven company. And at the same time, that personal humility would not mean that you are passive and submissive and you're not you don't have the capability to be very strong-willed and ambitious, not for the person himself, but for the company. So you can be very humble. At the same time, you can be very, very intentional, and you can ferociously pursue the goal for the company. And I thought that was one of the biggest lessons I learned, and it was quite comforting for me also, because if we have a very strong intention and where we want to go, that will drive the company. And it is so nice that when we discuss all this with our fellow Christites who we meet in the office, we talk about all this. And the beauty of the entire team is that everyone is self-driven, and no one is putting down any rule for anyone, and then each one knows what the task is for them. And I'll very quickly show you the team members, because I think I really have to salute these team members. And one more important aspect from the good to great is this whole hedgehog concept. The hedgehog concept again is very, very important for me, because we talk about there are people who may be good at many things and they know how to strategize for different aspects. But this is based out of a Greek fable where there's a comparison between a fox and a hedgehog. The fox will be good at many things, so it tries different strategies, but the hedgehog has only one concept, and he does it, that is to survive, and he does it very, very well. So a fox knows several things, but the hedgehog will know one big thing and it will pursue it. And I thought this is again very, very important for us. We as a team, we try to be just focused. This is our big thing, that we want to be a social impact company. We want to see that more and more women are employed very close to their homes, and that their children should have opportunity for the best education that is possible. So we as a team, we try to have this hedgehog about, let us know just one thing and let us try to fit all the other things alongside it. And thankfully, so far it is working well, in the sense that there are a lot of challenges, but it's working well. Another very important lesson I learned from Jim Collins was usually there is one person who decides, okay, I'll have this team and we want to follow the goal. But Jim Collins very convincingly tells that you should first decide who and then plan what and where. That is, first have the right team on the bus, make them occupy the right seats on the bus, and then decide where you can collectively go. Usually it would be other way around. I want to take it somewhere and then I try to hire the right people. But he says, just have a group of the best people with whom you can have a common vision and then decide where to go. That assures a more lasting success. So discipline people first, then disciplined thought, and then disciplined action. This is what will help us move the flywheel. Flywheel initially will take a lot of energy to go, but then usually once it gets the rhythm, it will just go hummingly without much effort. So I also have begun to understand the value of the right team together first, and then deciding where to go, because it's easy to decide where are aligned in their vision. So Jim Collins, this lesson again was very important, and in fact I'm nowadays I'm learning to be a little blunt about boarding off the wrong people off the bus, and I've done that. So sometimes when you have the wrong people on the bus, it's very important that you should have the courage to say no to that person and let him off the bus. And rather than always having a stressful time in your team. So first who and then what is again another important lesson which I thought is very important for a startup. Now I would very quickly show you the team members. This would be a typical scene you would find in the office even at 9:30 or 10. The music is humming, everyone is smiling and laughing, and all are at their work as well. So usually this is the time, and I would like to tell you that these are all Chirag and Sandeep, and then now a few more students are now trying to be a part of this. And this would be a typical scene. So when we are in the village also, you would see Chirag or Sandeep interacting with the children. And this is the energy level that we find throughout. And there are times when I have to say that don't come on Sundays and no phone calls on Sundays, because they would want to take up some work or the other. And I want to tell you that Sandeep, for example, for the last 1 week, he had been traveling to different villages around Mysore to plan the entire supply chain. So the point I'm trying to make is, just because we have the right who in the bus now, we as a startup, we are humming along well, though there are many challenges, which I wouldn't want to talk about at this stage, but we do have challenges. But somehow, because we have the right people in the bus and our vision, we are very committed with our vision, we can take this journey well. And again, we, as Anamika ma'am said, we are trying to raise up many entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs. This is in Tutukodi. Mrs. Kavita and her husband, Pon Venkatesh, they are the entrepreneurs who are running this entire show. So we don't employ people under us as under Brown Reed. So we are trying that at every place, women themselves become entrepreneurs and they employ people, the women in their adjoining areas. And Kavita ma'am in Tutukudi is such a wonderful leader. This is exactly what I'm talking about. The leadership opportunities in a social impact space. There are multiple levels of leadership that we can create. And she's such a wonderful person. And the women who are working with her, they just do not want to leave this company, because the kind of human connect that she builds, it's amazing. And she is going to play a very pivotal role in this startup. So this is Pon Venkatesh and Kavita ma'am, who are running this entire center in Tutukudi. And last month during my trip to Kerala, I took a tour from, I went this Teni Dindigal way, and we met this another wonderful young entrepreneur. His name is Santosh. He was selling tender coconuts, and then I showed him the straws. And it's so nice that it's so quickly gels. So Santosh now is our major supply chain manager in this entire Tutukudi in the Teni Dindigul belt. And he's such a committed person, and he ensures that the right leaves are collected and the right leaves are brought. And Santosh, actually, he's an undergraduate, but he did not get a job. So he recently came back from Chennai to Theni, and now he's full-time with us. He's helping us in a very effective way. He's helping us in this supply chain. And his entire family is now involved in this particular business. So not only that we have a direct employment at the production center, but through people like Santosh, more and more women are getting this opportunity. And this number goes well beyond 100 already. And this is again Sandeep and Mr. Rajkumar again from Kasargod. He's also now a member of the main team. And now I'm coming to the second level of leadership that we are trying to build up. So I go to 2-3 classes, and of course I make it a point that in my first class I do share the story, and I ask we ask the students to we tell the story, and we say that we want to give communication skills and other help to the students who are in the villages, in the remote villages. And I'm very proud to tell you that out of just the 3 classes where I go to, 74 students from Christ have volunteered to give communication skills training to the children in all these places. So almost 70 students from these villages have been enrolled, and 74 students from Christ are now giving. So as of now, we have just started very tentatively. So once we build this entire setup, it would be very great if more faculty members from English department and from other departments can come and be mentors to our students to give this effective teaching to these children. So it was very nice during the last Republic Day. We were training. We conducted a sketching, drawing activity for the children. And yeah, this is one of the girl child there celebrating the happy girl child on 24th of January. And now we have started training these children into communication skills. This is Pragna from Bangalore. Yeah, so yeah. So these are trained by our Christites.
Saji sir, if your intention is that we hear what they say, we are not able to hear it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I think there's some issue. So it doesn't matter. I mean, there were just small introductions. I'll just go ahead. So these children are being trained by our Christites. And this is now I'm coming to the close of it. So this is the larger aspect of the social impact. We can see more smiles because Christites and ISR faculty and students from Christ, we are reaching out to them. And there is that strong bond, and the entire company culture of being a truly human connect company is very visible, in the sense that these women no longer see themselves as just people who have to come and work for 8 hours and then go away. That's a very holistic approach, and somehow that is now cascading and trickling down. That whole intention is trickling down to the women who are working there, the children who are working there. And this is the larger dream of the company, that we see more smiles in our communities. And Christ University, as one of the biggest universities in India, our students start connecting to our communities in a much bigger way, and so that the women there and the children there can have the best of opportunities through Christ University startup. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Saji sir, for that presentation, for illuminating us about the kind of leadership you're building at various levels, and how you are encouraging even in classrooms. So that's really wonderful to see in pictures, the real social impact, and how you don't call them women workers, you call them women entrepreneurs, and the kind of respect that is allocated to them. Thank you for sharing this amazing story with us. So I would now request if there are any questions from the audience, please feel free to unmute and ask that. Or any comments that you would want to share about this presentation, please.
Yeah, I think, yeah, ma'am, can I go on?
Yes, sir, Dr.
Okay, yeah, this is till the others warm up.
Sure.
One question is that, so as a faculty in the university, you would have faculty expectations from the university, your teaching load, evaluations, your research, other things. So how do you balance this with your passion for the company and what you're building?
Just to say, Christ University has already been very good to me, in the sense that my workload has been reduced. And in fact, I've been it's been easy to focus because of the kind of space that Christ University has given me, right from the funding, because the first funding to build the machines came from Christ University. And then I'm Shobna ma'am, and thanks to the university and Shobna ma'am, that they make it a point that I'm getting only 8 hours of teaching. Even that I actually look forward to interacting with the students and teaching, particularly a subject like Ad English. Also, I teach Ad English with the same passion, because it also talks about the marginalized communities and all that. So every class, even the 8 hours I get, is very engaging. And other than that, I have this habit of being a very early riser. I get up at 3:30 in the morning. So I always have that 2-3 hours extra to plan the work, and then as we have a team, we just delegate it. So it's not that much of a burden, actually. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for that question, Dr. Pinto. So while others warm up to some questions, maybe if I can ask you, sir, how do you describe your first sale? You know, that is always a pivotal moment and a very joyous milestone for any startup. So can you tell us more about, you know, how your first sale happened and the team behind it, and the journey from then to now in terms of the impact that you're creating in terms of building this business?
Yes, ma'am. So the first of these sales actually happened in the US and Oman. So that was very interesting. In fact, again, credit goes to Christ University. The media study student had done a small news reel under CU News, Christ University News. And just with that, it had reached many countries. And so Karmic Seed is one of the first distributors in America. And coincidentally, the lady was in India at that time. So she was the one who bought the first straws from us. And then one Mr. Ali Busaidi from Oman, he also came to Bangalore to meet us. And now he is our distributor for Oman. So those were the two first sales that happened. And yes, it was a very exciting moment for all of us. And then gradually, Novotel and IBIS also decided to buy from us. So yeah, so it's very satisfying to see that the product that you could just conceived on the near the south gate of Christ University is now being sold in US and Oman. That's a great feeling, actually. Thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, to have international presence with something that literally you created at our backyard, and then, you know, it's I'm sure it must be really, really energizing for the whole team. Yes, ma'am. Yes, please.
Thank you, Saji sir. It's always inspiring to hear your work and how much you have progressed. We know we invited you over, and now it looks like 2 years down the line, you've made even more progress in your efforts. Thank you for illuminating us. My question is, we have students who are enthusiastic about starting something on their own, and they talk about startups. Not that they have an innovative idea like yours, but they are thinking about entrepreneurship.
Right.
What would you suggest that we warn them about, or how do we guide them? I know we can send them to you, but subject-specific startups, if they are talking about, what should we warn them about, or how should we tell them that, you know, they should prepare for a life like you are describing?
During the last 1 year, I had the privilege of being in 3 cohorts. One was by the Ministry of Agriculture, then one was under a race program by Manage, and the third was by the Ministry of Environment. So I got to learn a lot from the cohort, from the other startups. What I understood was a little maturity needs to come into your idea before you can actually scale it to a startup. So now I think recently, last week also, I was judging. I was on the panel of one of the startup competitions, I think from the Department of Commerce. So I think one is that they have to go through a bit of like a 1 month of you know, a sort of a sort of course kind of a thing where they understand, you know, what is really scalable, the feasibility of it, the viability of it, and then whether it can actually get scaled. So they need a little maturity. They need to bring in a little maturity, because students usually have this habit of getting hyped with a small idea. Or I even find that many students just want to be aggregators. They want to start a a platform, and then they want to aggregate into a business. But they again do not understand that that app has to again reach out to the bigger market. You know, how do you compete with an Amazon or a Google? So a little training would be very necessary. So I would recommend that before we have an incubation cell at Christ University, but before the incubation cell, there has to be one more place where they have this sort of, I think we are talking about a clinic, entrepreneurship clinic. And that would be very good. I think that if we have that, and then we bring in the startup early stage startup founders and all to talk to them and all, I think some maturity can come into their ideas. I think that we need to have that before an incubation. There has to be a pre-incubation training program. I think that would work.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madhumati ma'am, for that question. And I can see a couple of other questions here. There's one from Suganti ma'am, and she says that it was a wonderful session to know about your success in leadership. And she's saying that, keeping team members smiling must be a big achievement. And how did you achieve that? How do you know how to balance the tough times and keep the smiles going?
So, I mean, that tough times do come. Even now we are going through tough times only, but we all always keep telling, why did we start it in the first place? It's to reach a bigger goal. So that keeps us going. And we are just learning not to panic and not to have anxiety, but talk to people, get support from people, and be assured that, because our intention is so strong and we have a good idea, there is a good reception for the market. So we are just trying to focus on, the best things during the difficult times. And being confident that it has to tide over. And at our office, we try to keep the atmosphere very light. Deliberately, so suddenly, particularly Sandeep is a huge positive vibe. I think I showed Sandeep in our team. He's such a big positive vibe. So at 7:30, suddenly he'll say, "Sir, do you want lemon tea?" Then we all get into the kitchen, our pantry, we do the dishes and then we clean. So we deliberately try to keep the the environment light, and that's very important. And we are trying to build the same culture even at the production centers. So so that also helps a lot. Right. It's all about the approach and how we want to keep the team spirit high. And I think Mary Thomas ma'am has asked about a little on the balancing act between automation and generating employment. How are you navigating this? So I think it's pretty simple in a way that we know that now we have orders. For example, UK was actually asking us how much lead time would you require for one container of straws. So one container of straws is almost like 11 lakhs. And the manual machine that we have, it has a 45-second throughput. So that would be very slow. So then Chirag and Jobin, who primarily take care of technology, they do this calculation. So it's all about, in a country like India, we can, and particularly for a product like this, for a product like straw, it's very easy to bring in automation and yet bring in more people to work. That's the beauty of this endeavor. And as I mentioned, we are making pens also. I also request all departments to please, whenever you have your conferences, to support by having our eco-friendly pens for all your conferences. I'm doing a bit of a marketing now, so because it actually helps the women who are making there will actually be benefited, and I think we should, and because we can customize, we can do the laser engraving on the pens, so all of that helps a lot. So automation, and so it's like a Lijjat Papad model where the automation and but we'll not compromise on the employment. So it's not too tough, but we are not at all in favor of having some big machine somewhere in Delhi and then all the leaf is just sent to there. That we cannot do it. Yeah.
That's wonderful to know. And I'll also put in a plug here, because we at Christ Consulting are helping you with those pens. So those pens are really very good, and we're working on the USPs currently. So there are students again working on those USPs because they are completely or largely biodegradable and very eco-friendly. So Ferra and Legacy, and yes, they'll be launched very soon. To you all as well.
Yeah, Namika ma'am, there's a question here saying, what's your strategy to strike the balance among people and profit, I guess, right? People and profit. So we are very clear on this aspect. It is, we actually buy back the straws from the women and we sell it in the market, and it is a very transparent process where the profits have to be equally shared between the women and the startup. And at the same time, as we mentioned, it is like a 25% share between the women groups and us. But at the same time, it's not like any of these plastic products, like say plastic straws. It's all just one person can produce maybe, I don't know, 1 lakh, 5 lakh straws. So it is a little price sensitive, but we are just trying to sell the entire story behind it, the kind of income opportunities, the improved standard of living that is being generated. So you might be shelling out 1 rupee extra for that straw, but that 1 rupee just grows up to impact so many communities. So, and I think that story is selling well. So yeah, I hope I have answered your question. I don't know whether it's in exactly the economics terms. Yeah.
Yeah, Saji sir, I have one question. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
The first one observation I'll share with you. So you have a contagious smile on your face. Okay.
Thank you.
I think the smile is getting transmitted to all the people with whom you are dealing with. Okay.
Thank you.
So
Sir.
congratulations to that one. And also
Thank you.
once when we were traveling together to another country, you shared another project with us that, okay, you were thinking of the project of as street grounded vendors,
Yes.
some
Yes.
connected with that
Yes.
one. Okay.
Yes.
Can you just
Yes,
tell
sir.
something about that one? Is it proceeding still or?
Yes, sir. It is.
Yeah. Can you just give some plans to us?
Sushant sir from Kangeri campus. Sir from electronics. He is one of our team members. So we are making the first vending device for roasted peanut vendors. So for example, there used to be a boy named Rohit who was selling roasted peanuts right outside our front gate. So I used to buy from him every day, and then one day I just asked him how much he earns, and I was surprised. He was saying that he earns around 200, 300 rupees as a profit. And then I gave it as a CIA one to the commerce students and to make a business model for Rohit so that he can multiply his income. And that is how this whole concept. Then I was teaching design thinking to the global elective at Kangeri campus. So few students from there and then few students from our college. We got together, but then when this COVID happened, it had to be aborted for some time. But we are taking it up again. And we are trying to build a vending device for roasted peanut vendors. So now let's say we have a fancy looking peanut vending machine inside the campus, because we will not allow a Rohit to come and sell it inside the campus. But a fancy looking branded vending device can always be kept, and Rohit will be the owner of these vending devices. And he has an app. I think Sushant sir has also created that app where these vending devices can be loaded with this roasted peanuts. And let's say our students, let's say it is placed near the cafeteria or near the basketball ground, and let's say 5 students want to have roasted peanuts at 4 or 5 in the evening. So they can do the QR payment, and these roasted peanuts in cones, pre-filled cones, will vend out. And so Rohit owns this vending devices. So instead of he being only at one place and selling the roasted peanuts, his business is happening at 2-3 places. So instead of earning just 600 rupees, he will earn 3 times it. So that's the larger concept. We'll have to work on it, sir. But the project is on, sir.
Thank you, Saji sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jain sir. So if there are any more questions, I think I have time. We have time for one more. And yes, Dr. Victor Paul saying inspiring story. What is the name of the company? Whether this company is a part of Christ Incubation and Innovation Center. Yes, sir, you read my mind. I was just about to invite Dr. Father Benny Thomas, who's the Director of Consulting, Incubation and Patents. Father, if you'd like to mention, and especially Kangeri as a campus has supported this. So if you'd like to mention how such ideas are supported by the Incubation Center. Father, is that possible? Yes.
Thank you, Anamika ma'am, and a special congratulations to Saji sir, because he's closely associating with me personally also. Whenever he wants any help, he approaches me. So Christ University always supports his innovation and all his ideas. So I don't say interact with him every day for his concepts, but then I could see he is coming to Kangeri campus, then to Central campus, and all these students, not only engineering students, art students, commerce students, management students, all are interested in his ideas. And that is what actually inspired me to support him whenever he comes for any help. So I really congratulate on this occasion, Saji sir. And being an English professor, coming forward with all these ideas and enthusiasm, that is inspiring for all your colleagues present here and all the leaders present here. So please go ahead. That's what I want to say. And of course, the Incubation Center, Dr. Cherukuri, he is the coordinator for Christ Incubation Center. He is present here. He can add to what I am saying here, how the Incubation Center is supporting the ideas of the professors and the students who are coming to our incubation center. So if Cherukuri sir wants to interact, you can come forward and add to what I said, especially about this particular concept. Sir, are you here? You can just spend a few minutes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I hope I'm audible, sir.
Yes, you are. Yes.
Yes, sir. You are.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Saji sir. Yes, as Benny Father sir was saying, Saji sir was always enthusiastic about the development and design and he's the one instrumental in taking up a new venues wherever it is required. And Sir is also closely associated with Christ Incubation Center and supporting in various endeavors that are in either it could be part of entrepreneurship clinic that we are trying to formulate to encourage the entrepreneurship ecosystem, or any other program we try to bring in. Sir is more than happy to join us and share his thoughts and views. It's one of his own ideas that he brought in. We were having a discussion. One is the entrepreneurship clinic. We will be able to start probably from this semester as a certification program with his kind support and everything. We're also trying to bring in what we called as innovative think tanks. So there, where the shortest batch, around about 20 to 25 students, we are bringing in together with experts from different sectors. Like we had one session with agriculture. Now we are having another section with blockchain and agriculture and logistics. So what happens here is 10 to 15 minutes of talk will be given, followed by sharing of the ideas on how you want to evaluate, how you want to address, and how the things can be taken out. Or it's like, exploring or out of box thinking kind of a curiosity is what we are trying to develop from Christ Incubation Center, which has been taken as the first response was taken very greatly by all the participants. Now we are hoping more and more people will be joining in, and more sessions will be interactive on that nature. Along with that, constant support we get from Father Benny and from other faculty members who are also our mentors, who are also our coordinators, who are supporting us from across all the 5 campuses to ensure a smooth working process can be carried out at Christ Incubation Center. With that note, I'll take thanks, and thank you, Saji sir, to bringing some more feathers into the Christ Incubation Center with your support. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cherukuri and Father Benny. So I think we've reached the end of our time for this session. Are there any announcements, Registrar Sir, would you like to make, Father VC, Pro VC, Father? Any announcements from your side?
So I'm very happy about Dr. Saji Varghese initiatives in the campus, and he has brought a culture in Christ University to bring patents and innovations. Before 2016, number of patents is 0. And when I checked 2018, 6 patents we got. This 1940, 2020, 40, 2021, 168 patents. And 22 started 1 month over, 10 patents. Just now I was checking. So the patent cell, the incubation center, the consulting group of Christ University under the leadership of Father Benny Thomas is doing very well. Dr. Saji Varghese is bringing name and fame for the university. So congratulations and thank you, Saji Varghese, for your that dedication, passion, and interest, and also you are inspiring many students to flock around you and spend time with you to get more and more ideas. So that's a way to attract the students, not for crazy things, but for creative things, innovative things. They are, I'm not seeing very rich people, rich students walking around you, but ordinary students, but a lot of power and energy they are coming with you. So keep it up. Nice presentation. All the very best. Bring the name and fame to the university. So small things, that is coconut leaves, okay? What we are using for firewoods and so on, in the olden times, now gas and so on. But now it is being made international fame for the Kerala coconut leaves, or Kerala or Karnataka or Tamil Nadu. And also a lot of poor people are getting jobs and also the skills, everything is being developed. So thank you so much. And thank you, Leadership Chair, for bringing Dr. Saji Varghese, a humble person, with great ideas and a great smile and a great power to Christ University audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you so much, Father VC, for your words of inspiration and encouragement. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. And I would just like to take this opportunity to thank Father VC and all the senior management team that are here who made time to be with us this afternoon. And I'd also like to extend my thanks to members of senior management, the deans, the HODs, coordinators, and of course the leadership chair, Dr. Tony Sam George and Samuel Sir, who gave us this platform to have this learning session, which was really enriching. So thank you so much, and more power to you. May this keep building momentum in the months to come. Thank you. And finally, to all the lovely audience who were here and who posed questions as well, and perhaps drew value from this, thank you so much. And a huge round of applause for our speaker for today, Dr. Saji. May you grow from strength to strength, and may you always prosper. And as Father VC so correctly put, be the beacon of progress when it comes to patents and leading the way forward.
Thank you
for
all.
the
Thank you very
university.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. Means a lot to me. I'm humbled by this opportunity. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you. So with that, I think we can conclude the session. Good day to all of you. Thank you.